All I ever wanted was a dog. That might be hard for some of you to believe, but it's true. Want to guess what my first word was? I'll give you one try. Here's a hint, it wasn't cat. Okay, I said doggy and not dog, but it's the same thing. Yes, before saying mom or dad or Santa or whatever babies usually say first, I made it clear I love dogs. Here's the mean part, my mom was scared of dogs. It wasn't really her fault. When she was little, a golden dog bit her. Yes, think of a nice movie dog hurting my poor mom and making her scared of dogs for life. I asked her about it when I got older. She said it was a young couple who didn't take good care of their dog. They left it outside all the time for years, tied to a tree with a short chain. I can see why the dog was angry. That's no way for a dog to live, especially a smart one like a golden. Well, one night, Mom was walking by, and maybe the dog wanted company, because it broke that chain, ran right at her, and bit her ankle. She said it made her bleed, nothing too bad, but it scared her for life. So you can guess that my mom wasn't happy with my first word. I mean, how does that even happen? We didn't have a dog. She never let dogs come over. My mom couldn't figure it out. She must have thought about it a lot. She finally decided, must have left the TV on and some dog movie was playing. But I don't think that was it. I think it was something more. And that's really where our story starts. No matter how hard I tried, I could not get Mom to let me have a dog. 3 times I tried to bring a dog home, real tries, 7 if you count the dumber ideas. Every time I brought one home, or tried to watch a neighbor's dog, or anything, Mom would get scared, say, no way, never, and we'd stay mad at each other for exactly 1 day. Not sure why it worked like that, but it did. There are good and bad things about being a kid. The good, you don't need a job, you don't have to worry about money, and you don't have to go to a job you hate for 20 years. You can play baseball outside as late as you want, go on adventures, and not worry about everything. But, and this is big, if your mom really hates dogs, there's nothing you can do about it. On May 20, 2010, that all changed. I turned 18, and by 6 in the morning I had packed my bags, thrown them into an old rusty car I got for $1,100, and was driving to the local animal shelter. Over the past year, I had stopped by Sunset Animal Shelter at least 19 times. I ended up getting a part-time job there around visit number 6. Nothing fancy, mostly cleaning cages, walking dogs, filling food bowls. Mike said if I was going to hang around the place anyway, I might as well get paid for it. So I did. I worked Saturdays and a few days after school, just enough to keep gas in my car and stay close to the dogs. It was hard though, because when I saw a dog I liked, what could I do? I could just wait and wait. By now, I knew every dog in the place. Or at least I thought I did. Hey there kid, Mike smiled as I parked my car badly. Is it that time already? Year went by fast, huh? You kidding me? This year was slow. Longest year of my life, I said back. Well, good thing you're only 18 then, Mike smiled. You'll have longer years, trust me. Mike was average height, heavy, looked to be about 60. He owned the place, managed it, cleaned it, and did whatever else needed doing. We got along well from the start, and he knew today was going to be tough. Any new dogs? I asked. Mike shook his head, drinking coffee from a World's Best Boss mug which he definitely bought himself. Since 8 last night. Nope, don't think so. If anyone knows all these dogs, it's you, kid. I nodded, thinking hard. Mike took out his keys, found the right one, and with a slow creak, the kennel door opened. We started our walk. Border Collie? Maybe. German Shepherd? Maybe. Well, do you know which one? Maybe. Mike laughed. I walked around, looking through each door, and then something strange happened. I heard a new bark. There was a room at the very end of the hall. I thought it was for storage. I'd never seen any dogs kept back there. But that bark definitely came from behind that door. Rick, did that come from that back room? No. Bark, asterisk. You sure? Yes. Bark, asterisk. I'm pretty sure there's another dog in that back room, man. Rick sighed, pulled out his keys again, and walked slowly toward the back room and the sound. There's something wrong with this one, he said. You can take a look, but we have to put him down next week. Angriest animal I've ever seen. Did he bite someone? I asked, as Rick looked through his keys. Nope. Darn thing just showed up here last week. Stood outside in the back lot and growled something awful at everyone who came near it. Took almost 3 hours, but I got him in here. At least it wasn't far. Rick pushed the door open halfway, then stopped. I'm serious, kid. You can take a look and see for yourself, but you're not getting this one. Angriest animal I've ever seen, and I've seen some bad ones. It won't let anyone near it, so stay back. See for yourself, Ann. Before Rick could finish, I'd pushed the old metal door open the rest of the way and taken a step in. Kind of dark in here, no. Light's broken. Working on it, he said. Taking another step forward, I saw a tall cage about 4 feet in front of me, though I couldn't see anything inside. Having no fear of animals and being curious, I stepped closer, putting my face near the bars of the cage. Hey, don't do that, Mike started, but it was too late. I'd made a terrible mistake. The beast had taken that chance to rush forward out of the darkness, jump forward onto the bars of the cage where my face was, and lick me. I laughed. Well, I'll be darned, Rick said quietly. The beast walked around inside the cage, making soft whining sounds as it looked up at me. I knelt closer. Hey, don't do that, Mike said again, but he was too late. The dog walked closer, put its paws against the bars, and licked my face again. I put my hand on his head and rubbed it, and we sat there for a few moments. Well, I don't get it, but you're still not keeping this thing. Not safe. What is he? I asked. Don't know. If I had to guess, I'd say he's part German Shepherd, part wolf. You can tell from the paws and the eyes. I kept petting the animal. He'd laid down against the bars, put his head on the floor, and closed his eyes as I did. Look, kid. Doesn't matter if for some reason he likes you. You can't take this one. He's a mess, angry as heck, and according to law number 94, no one in Sheffield County can legally own a wolf. Well, I guess we're gonna have to keep it to ourselves then, I said. And you don't know for sure he's a wolf anyway. Kid, you aren't tack. Okay, Rick, give me his papers. I'll take him, I said, cutting him off as I rubbed the dog's head again. Rick looked down at the floor, shook his head, and said, Your mother is going to kill me. My Uncle Ben had a small cabin down by the lake. It had been in the family for years, though I'd only been there once. It was an old, run-down place about 7 miles off the highway. But it had electricity, running water, and most importantly, I could have a dog. Ben said I could have the place as long as I liked, as long as I cleaned it up a bit, fixed a thing or two, and left it better than when I'd found it. Fair enough, I thought. The beast, I still hadn't named him yet. Sat up straight in the back seat of my car, looking out at the trees and calm water of the lake as we passed. He didn't bark, didn't pant, didn't make a sound. Just stared out the window quietly. When we got to the cabin, it was late afternoon. I opened the car door to let him out, said, Come on, boy, and that was that. He jumped out, licked the side of my pants, and was close by my side as I opened the trunk and got out supplies, a couple big jugs of water, just in case, a couple days' worth of canned food and ramen noodles. Ugh. I forgot dog food, I said. Guess you're eating chicken soup, dude. He seemed okay with that. I walked up the muddy driveway and stepped onto the porch of the old cabin. Come on, boy, I called, but he didn't move. He'd followed me so far, but now he stood right at the edge of the first wooden step, and he wouldn't go any further. He growled up at me. No, not at me, at something behind me. It took some pushing and some beef jerky, but I got the dog inside, though he wasn't happy about it. We went through the old place together. I planned to stay here over the summer, so I wanted to see what was there. Like I said, the cabin hadn't been used in years, and the more I looked around, I realized why. It started to rain around mid-afternoon. The drops of water bouncing off the tin roof were calming, but they came with a problem, leaks, a lot of leaks. 5 in fact, but luckily my Uncle Ben had left plenty of buckets, and it was easy enough to put one under each drip. 2 in the kitchen. 1 in the guest bedroom right onto the bed, which looked like it had about 200 years of dust on the yellow sheets. 1 in the living area right in front of the fireplace, and 1 in the bathroom that luckily fell right into the sink, saving me a bucket. If you've ever lived in a leaky house, it's not a nice feeling. It comes with always worrying, stress, and probably mold. But you get used to it after a while. It's always annoying, but I guess it becomes less annoying. I don't know. What I do know is that the leaks weren't critical anymore, they were contained, and that was good enough for me. With the rain came the cold, but a few dry twigs, newspapers, an old log, and a box of matches, and we were ready to go. The fireplace in the main area roared to life, and I plopped down on the couch. The dog lay down between me and the fireplace and closed his eyes like this had always been his home. "Shadow," I said suddenly. He looked up at me. "You know, I've really been overthinking this. Your name should be Shadow." He turned his giant head sideways at me, thinking, and then closed his eyes and turned back toward the fireplace. He seemed to agree. "Shadow it is." I shook out an old blanket, set it down on the old couch near Shadow, and we both fell asleep. I woke up to a low growl, and it took me a moment to remember where I was. Right. Cabin, Shadow. A flash of lightning and then a low rumble lit up the cabin window above the porch. Shadow got up and walked carefully over to look outside. Thunder, louder this time. "What is it?" I asked him. He looked over at me, then quickly back out toward the storm. I was glad he was here. He didn't bark. Didn't whine. Just kept staring through the foggy glass into the rain. Another flash of lightning lit up the yard, and for half a second, I thought I saw something out there. Not movement. Not a person. Just a shape. Tall. Standing up. Gone in an instant. I stood slowly, walked toward the window, leaned over Shadow to get a better look. Nothing. Just the trees swaying and the black lake beyond. "You saw something, didn't you?" He didn't move, but his ears twitched. That's when I heard it. Thump. But it wasn't thunder. It came again, 5 seconds later. Thump. Heavy. Dull. Like something dragging a tree trunk through mud. Not fast. Not frantic. Just on purpose. I reached over to the kitchen counter and turned off the lantern, letting the room fall into shadow. Another flash of lightning, and this time, I saw it clearly. Something stepped between 2 trees, maybe 20 yards from the porch. It moved on 2 legs, but it wasn't a person. It was hunched over, with long arms, and something hanging off its back. Looked like fur. Its face, I didn't see a face. Just blank. Like the skin didn't fit right. Like it had been pulled tight over something it didn't belong on. Shadow growled low. I moved to the fireplace and picked up one of the metal tools. It wasn't much, but it was solid, and it felt better than standing there with empty hands. The creature took a step closer. I couldn't see it anymore, but I heard it. Mud sucking under its feet. Something heavy brushing past low-hanging branches. Thunk. Now it was on the porch. Shadow stood. His fur stood up down his back. Something touched the doorknob. I tightened my grip on the poker and backed slowly toward the hallway. The knob began to turn slowly. Once. Twice. Then stopped. Silence. I held my breath. Shadow let out a low, shaking growl, his body stiff as a statue. Then. Boom. The front door slammed open so hard it cracked against the wall behind it. Wind burst in, throwing leaves, dirt, and rain into the cabin. And standing in the doorway, framed by lightning and black trees behind it, was the thing. It filled the space. Its head tilted sideways, like it was trying to understand what it was looking at. Shadow jumped. No. Too late. Shadow crashed into its legs with a snarl, driving it back onto the porch. The thing screamed, high-pitched, sharp, like metal scraping against glass. They tumbled into the rain. Shadow bit into its arm, shaking with everything he had. The creature slammed him against the ground, once, twice. Shadow yelped but didn't let go. I raised the poker, stepped into the rain. And then it looked at me. It didn't have eyes. Just a smooth, pale face, split by a jagged line that might have been a mouth. It let go of Shadow. And took one step toward me. I swung the poker as hard as I could. It connected with a wet crack, like hitting soaked leather. The thing barely moved. It swiped back, claws cutting through my shirt, slicing across my ribs. I stumbled back into the doorway, hit the floor hard. Shadow hit it again, this time going for the legs. The creature staggered, then hissed and ran into the woods. Gone. The whole thing took maybe 30 seconds. I lay there, blinking up at the ceiling, rain dripping down my face. Shadow came over and sat next to me, panting, soaked, shaking. I put my hand on his back. The fire was still crackling, barely. I didn't speak. The fire crackled low. Rain tapped against the walls like fingers drumming in thought. Then Shadow shifted. He let out a soft grunt and tried to stand, but his back leg gave out halfway. He yelped and dropped back down, panting hard. I moved to him quickly. Easy, buddy. I ran my hands along his side, brushing back the wet fur. That leg, his back right, was already swelling. 3 long scratches ran down his thigh, angry and red. He hadn't let on before. Hadn't made a sound. Tough dog. But now. He wasn't walking far. I looked at the door. Then at the window. The rain outside had turned into a sideways sheet, streaming past in waves. Thunder rumbled again, farther away this time. We're not waiting around, I said out loud, more to myself than to him. I grabbed my keys, put on a soaked hoodie, and looked over my shoulder. Come on. We're getting out of here. Shadow stood slowly, limped toward the door. I opened it, helped him down the steps. The wind pushed at us, rain hitting my face so hard I could barely keep my eyes open. The car sat where I left it, half sunk into the mud and gravel. Rusty old car. I yanked open the back door and patted the seat. In. Shadow hesitated, then climbed in awkwardly, curling against the fabric with a low whine. I slammed the door and got in the driver's side. Keys in. Deep breath. Click. No turnover. I twisted the key again. Click click click. Dashboard lights flickered and died. Come on. Third try. Nothing. No engine. Just rain. I pushed the door open and popped the hood, storm punching me in the chest as I stumbled to the front. Lifted it. The engine was soaked and cold. And the